The following is a brief training video to show contractors how to utilize the Genesis 203K portal to complete bids. First, you'll need to log in, and you will have to go to www.genesis203k.net. When you reach the login screen, you need to enter the company ID for the firm you're working with. In the case of my local company, Value Home Inspections, the login is VALUEHOME. Then you need to enter the portal called Contractor Management System. Here you need to enter the registered email and password that was provided to you by an email that you received from admin@203k.net. This email will be sent to you every time you receive a bid invitation. If you are not sure what your login credentials and did not see the email, please check your spam or deleted mailbox for an email from admin@genesis203k.net. Again, that's admin@genesis203k.net, where you'll find your login credentials. Or call the company consultant, and they can provide that information to you. Once you've entered your user ID, email, and password, you will be able to see that if you have orders that are available for bid, you'll be able to see those orders at the time that you review the file. Here you can see that this bid, you can view the project details of the bid. When you open up the bid, you'll be able to see the project. Going back to the available for bidding screen, here you can print off a copy of the contractor bid PDF package, particularly useful if you are attending a bid meeting. You can also view all of the photos that were taken by the consultant for the property to remind you of the conditions that were prevalent at the time of the inspection and to help you remember what was going on at the property. Click this button to go back. Now you can go in here and view the project details and begin your bid. When you are looking at the construction cost estimate page for the property, you'll notice that areas, line items, or categories that have the No button selected mean that you cannot exit the bidding page until you have put numbers in these categories, because these categories have mandatory items. The areas that have simple green check marks are areas that have information that you should enter, but the items in those sections are recommended or desired only. And if your client is only asking for you to put bids in on those items that are mandatory, you do not have to put anything in those categories to be able to complete your bid. Note, until you have checked off, until every single category that is bold and that has a blue box next to it that says provide estimates, unless you put a line, a labor and material number next to all mandatory items in every one of these sections, you will not be able to go past and submit your bid. So here I will just sample this information for you. So now I opened up masonry, and as you can see, in a pink shaded color, you have two mandatory items. You must put a material, and you must put your total cost. And then if you have a tax margin on that material, you can enter it, and then you can put your labor rate. So now for the purpose of getting this through, I'm going to just go ahead and, so this is the rate, this is the quantity is already given to you, the units are already notated to you. All you need to do is put the rate, it will calculate your total cost, your tax, if you have any, and then the rate of the labor and the total of the labor. Once you have successfully completed the line items, it will show up in green. If you have any special category details that you would like to have notated on the file for specific information you want a part of the contract, enter that information here and it will become a permanent record. So now that box has a green check next to it. The next category did not have a mandatory item, and as you can see, the item is shaded in yellow because it's a desired only. So I'm going to just tab past this. And so there's my price, and I hit submit. So you continue down the page for all the categories. Now here on this category, you see we have a mix of recommended and mandatory items. You can enter information in your mandatory, in the recommended items, and you can enter things into the mandatory item. Once you do that, they both turn green. But if this yellow item here was not entered, you see it now becomes yellow again because this was not mandatory to be entered. An important consideration that I want you to all be aware of, on the permit number, please note that when it comes to the permits, you will need to put the amount that the municipality charges for the permit under material. So in this case, we're looking at the general building drywall category. And so I'm going to put in $150 for the permit, and then you are allowed a 1 hour $75 rate for the time it takes to get there. This permit fee, so labor is your time and effort it takes to go get the permit, and this is the actual cost of the municipality's permit fee. Once you have entered all the necessary data to ensure that you have a green check mark besides all of the categories where there's the ability to enter data, you can consider yourself finished. However, in many circumstances, you may find that after the consultant has completed the bid for you to submit, and you've gone out to the property with the client, a borrower or you have identified additional repairs that you feel should be included in the project. These are known as contractor recommended items. And in order to enter them, all you do is click that green button. I went a little fast. You click the green button to add contractor recommended repair items. You indicate the location in the property. So here we'll say basement, or we'll say first floor. And let's say the borrower desires this. It will be completed by you, the contractor, or if you are using a, do not enter subcontractor if you are going to be managing the payment of the project. The only time the term subcontractor is used is if that individual will be paid separately through the 203K project and will then need to be individually validated. So be careful to only indicate contractor for these repairs. So we'll just simply say inside the specific repair detail, enter what the category you feel this would belong to, as the consultant will then need to move it into that proper category. So here we'll say electrical, and then we're going to type in what you're going to be doing. Be as specific as possible, because otherwise the details, the devil is in the details. So where possible, provide a material allowance, and the totals. So down here under your cost estimate, under materials, you're going to put each 6. Your materials is $85. Then under your labor, each or lump sum, however you choose to do it. So let's say you're going to do a lump sum cost for your labor, and you're just going to say $350. And if you want to add another item, you just check yes. Otherwise, this is now complete. And now you've incorporated something into the project, even though you're not able to edit the actual categories that exist. So there is your contractor recommended item for the first floor. If you have any specific details that you want to add, put that in the bottom, and it will be copied over by the consultant. As much detail as you possibly can makes it easier for you after closing. And now you can click the button here to go back to the project. And you can see that now it says ready to submit. I would suggest that you print a preview of your report and save it to your computer. However, this file will stay available to you in the system. So we're going to go back up here. And you see where now it says ready to submit. In order to submit the bid, you must click the green button. Until that time, you can change, edit, or modify the bid. Please note on the consultant side, we see that the project is in ready to submit mode, and we know that all you have to do is just click the button. You may or may not click the button as you choose until you are ready. So you hit ready to submit, you hit click, and then it will submit. Because you cannot alter this file once you hit the submit button, you will be asked, are you absolutely sure you want to submit your bid? You will not be able to change any values after submitting. Then you hit OK. Once your bid is submitted, the consultant will be notified that you have successfully sent your bid over for review. If at that time there are some changes that the lender or the borrower or the contractor wants you to make to that bid due to negotiation activities or any conditions, they will be able to resubmit. They'll send you the bid back for revisions, and you will see the phrase request revision instead of the word submitted. So here you can always view a PDF of your submitted bid. At all times you can view the project photos, and you can always view the contractor bid package. This concludes the training for how to process and submit 203K projects for Contractor. Any questions that you might have about the Genesis Rehab Reporting and Management System, please address them to support@genesis203k.net. Thank you.